wanna know his secret?
Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Untitled from Tech Feed, and welcome to another episode of the coding of the interwebs. This is episode 2, and last episode we left out with this, and I promised I'd tell you guys what all this stuff means. So, let's empty out this document that we created last time. So let's just delete everything in here, and now we can start learning what all that stuff meant. So first I need to teach you guys about tags. Tags look like this. You type them out like this: tag name, and that's a starting tag. Well, no spaces in a tag name, so like there, tag name. Okay, so that's how you create a starting tag. And there are two different kinds of tags in HTML. There are two different, so there's a tag that has a starting point and an ending point. So like, so this is how you start a tag, that's starting point and ending point, and then how you end it is like this. You do the same thing except you do slash tag name. Now obviously you have to replace tag name with the name of the tag. And then there are also tags that do not that are not written like this. They don't have any end. So an example of this kind of tag, like kind that has a beginning and an end, it's like the span tag that we used last episode, like this. And I'll tell you what this means later. But this is a span tag, which has a beginning and an end, and everything inside of here are the contents of the span tag. Now there's another kind of tag called a tag that does not end, and you write that like so: tag name slash like that. So what that'll do is it will have a tag that has no end, so there are no contents for this tag. So an example of a tag like this would be the line break tag, BR, and what this does is it says everything after this is on the next line. So that's how you write a tag like that. So let's delete all this stuff, and let me give you, so now that you know what a tag is, I will tell you some more advanced things about tags. So tags are, in tags we can have a thing called an attribute, which means this is part of, this is like something that you attach on top of the tag to give it more information. So for example, I could give you, there are different tags like the image tag, right? This is another tag that does not end, right? And it's typed out like this. That you need to tell it what image to give it, like what you need to give it a source for an image. So the way you do that is you type in src, and as you can tell, Adam is smart enough to tell you about these attributes, and you can just hit enter when it shows up inside a drop down list, and it will automatically put this. And this is the format that you can do it in. So here you have tag name, then you have an attribute name, and then you have equals, and then quotations, you put in what it equals. So this would be the file name for your for your picture, and this will create an image. Now these attributes do not only apply to tags that have no ending, these also work with tags that have an ending. You just put this part only inside the beginning tag and not inside the ending tag. So now that we've covered that, I will start talking about the structure of a web page. So every web page is structured like this. So first you have the doc type. So the doc type, which looks a lot like, well, if I do this again, the doc type looks like this. This part is the doc type. It says exclamation mark doc type HTML. Now inside of older versions of HTML, you'd have to go to these websites like W3 Schools, for example, which is a great website. If you ever forget anything, go there. They'll have a list of all the tags, all the attributes for all the tags, and literally it's amazing. But so you'd have to copy this doc type from other websites, because it would be super long and have like a bunch of attributes in it and stuff. But now you can just copy and paste this small line, or even type it out if you want. And this is really and this is like the new way to do it in HTML5. And this is not a normal tag. This is the only time you'll see a tag that does not need to be ended, and and does not have a slash at the end. In fact, it isn't even considered a tag. So then you have these HTML tags, which here's the starting tag and here's the end tag. So this is like your entire contents of a web page. Now you do not need these here, but just about every website ever made has these HTML tags. So then you have well, they're all based off the structure. Everything here will apply. And then you have these head tags. These head tags basically say, these head tags are another way to organize your website, and this is where you put all the things that people don't see, like where you import in your CSS scripts, which are style sheets, which style all your content and make it look cool. And that you put here, and that's like behind the scenes stuff that does not show up on the web page but affects everything else. This title tag, what that does is, well, I'll show you right now. If we go back over to our YouTube folder that we made earlier, and we go over to watermelon.html and wait for Firefox to open it, you will see that right here, up here where it says file : // watermelon. So right now it shows you this URL, right? This is only specific to my computer. If you go here, you will not see what I'm looking at. It will show you what's there on your own computer, right? So what you can, but for example, if you go to youtube.com, you will see that it doesn't say https : //www.youtube.com. Instead, up here it says YouTube. So that's what you put inside your title tag right here. And that's what goes inside this title tag right here. Now this meta charset UTF-8, that tells you how this file is encoded. You don't have to worry about it. Just remember that 100 out of every 100 times it will be UTF-8. I'm not even kidding. You'll never have to deal with like anything else. And then here's the body. So body basically states that, hey, this is everything that shows up on the web page. So yesterday, last episode, I was saying, I told you guys to put span and then hi inside of the span, right? And by the way, your changes will only be affected after you refresh and after you save the file. I hit Control S and there'll be like a blue dot here if it's not saved. I hit Control S and that saves it. So if you open up Mozilla Firefox and you refresh it, or whatever other web browser you have, and you refresh it, as you can see it says hi right here. So so in the head goes everything that you want to actually like be displayed on the screen. Now here are some examples of some tags. Now if you most other text editors will ask you to write out everything, but Atom is pretty smart. All you need to do is to write out a tag. All you need to do is, for example, there's a tag called, so all you need to do is, for example, the H1 tag. This is header 1. All you need to do is type the name of the tag, and then you hit tab, and it will create both the starting and the ending tag. Or if it's a tag that does not have any end, like the line break tab, BR, and you hit tab, it automatically creates it. And sometimes some people like not putting a slash here. Honestly, I always put a slash there, but some people don't because it's not a requirement. But yeah, so now that we are done about that, so here are some things that you'll be using often. HTML tab. So this will bring you out your entire structure and everything. Atom is super smart, it can do that. Now here are a few tags that you'll be using a lot. Number 1, the span tag. What this span tag does is it allows you to group things together, group pieces of text together, and in a few episodes down the line I will teach you why this is so amazing and so useful while coding, and how this can help you improve the look of your website a lot, like tremendously. Now that's a span. That's more like grouping a paragraph together, even though there's a separate tag for that. There's the P tag, which is paragraph, which groups a paragraph together. And then you have and span is more for like grouping an individual sentence or an individual word. word, if I can talk. Now you have the div tag, which tells you which groups more like this is like you want to group an entire box of content that's similar, and this class attribute is something that we'll be talking about later. And then you also have some other tags such as BR, which I have talked about a little while ago. And BR enters a line break. Whenever you, for example, if I type in, if I just say hi, and then I go to a new line and I say hi, and I go to a new line and I say pizza, it's if you go here and you refresh it, it's gonna say hi pizza with spaces, not line breaks. Not each of them are not gonna be on their own line, even though as you can see I saved it, and they're on their own line here. What you have to do is you have to put in a BR tag in between each one of these, and on every line that you want to skip. So here you have hi, and then the second one is hi pizza because I didn't insert another one there, right? So there's some pretty cool things that you can do with that. So that's one. That's another tag that you'll be using a ton. So currently this is what you have to learn. Now go through these and learn how to use all of these and create something like where you can have something like a div tag, for example, and inside of here you can put in and then inside of here put in like a paragraph tag and say hi, this is a paragraph, for example, right? And then whoops, went into full screen mode. F11 takes you into full screen mode, by the way. And then here we'll have another paragraph saying this is another paragraph, and for example we'll just throw in a span right here, and for example let's say span, and then let's just put this inside the span, right? So Control X. That Control X is the keyboard shortcut for cut, which is pretty awesome, and I wonder why it highlighted all that. Oh, this is another paragraph. I wonder why I did that, but hi, this is a paragraph. This. What did it do to that? Okay, wait, give me 1 second. Oh, I forgot to close the tag. Okay, so I accidentally did that. This is another paragraph. Okay, so yeah, that's another thing that you have to be careful of. You have to keep these. You gotta remember to keep these less than greater than signs here. Otherwise, things will mess up, like what happened right there, and it won't give you like an error, right? So paragraphs have the paragraph tags, or these p tags have the special property of putting in line breaks by themselves, because you know paragraphs are each on another line. After one paragraph ends, the next one starts on the next line. That's pretty common knowledge, and they're pretty amazing because of that. Plus these you can say, hey, I want this one paragraph to be green, I want this other paragraph to be blue, and I'll be showing you that inside the next episode or the episode after that, most likely, because we're going to be learning about CSS, which allows you to style your content. In other words, make it look cool and change the way it looks and align it somewhere and that kind of thing, right? So until next time, never ever cut the feed of tech.